Welcome to the deep dive. Have you ever had that feeling when you're learning English? You get a lot of it. Maybe reading and writing are okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then you need to actually speak. And, you just freeze up.
Oh, absolutely. That shyness, right? Or just that fear, that worry about making a mistake. It's so common.
Yeah, it really is. And if that sounds like you listening right now, well, you're definitely not alone.
No, far from it. And that gap, the one between understanding and, actually speaking confidently, it can feel pretty big sometimes.
So our mission today, let's call it that, is to dive into why that happens and maybe give you some practical ways to deal with it.
Exactly. To help bridge that gap, we want to look at that fear, understand it a bit, but more importantly, talk about what you can actually do to start speaking English more freely, more comfortably.
Okay, so let's start with the big one, mistakes. We all hate making them, don't we? It feels, embarrassing, especially when you're trying hard.
It really does. But
Yeah.
What if we, tried to look at it differently? What if mistakes aren't actually failures?
You mean like they're part of the process?
Precisely. Think about it. How did you learn your first language? When you were a kid.
Oh, yeah. Loads of mistakes, I guess. Saying words wrong, getting grammar mixed up.
Exactly. For years, probably. But nobody thought, oh, this kid's failing at language. It was just learning. Trying things out, stumbling a bit.
That's a really good way to put it. Kids just sort of dive in, don't they? They experiment. And every little oops helps them figure things out.
Right. Those errors are just information. When you make a mistake in English, it's not saying you're bad at English. It's just highlighting a little spot where you need a bit more practice or understanding.
So it's like a signpost pointing towards what to work on next.
Yes. It's feedback. Useful feedback. And honestly, you learn faster when you're not totally paralyzed by the fear of getting it wrong.
Okay, so instead of that awful cringe feeling when you say something wrong, just think, okay, noted, learn something.
That's the shift. Each mistake is like a little clue leading you forward. It actually means you're trying, you're pushing your boundaries. You should feel kind of proud of that attempt, really.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the shyness itself? Even if you accept mistakes, just opening your mouth can feel huge.
It really can. And let's acknowledge that. It takes genuine courage to speak a language that's not your first. You're putting yourself out there, being vulnerable. That's completely normal to feel shy about.
Yeah, it feels like everyone's listening so closely, just waiting for you to mess up.
I know that feeling. But, most of the time, people are actually just trying to understand what you want to say. They're focused on the message, not, hunting for grammar errors.
That's probably true, isn't it? They just want to connect.
Exactly. And here's something else. Even native English speakers aren't perfect. Not by a long shot.
Oh, totally. I hear people I know stumble over words or say things awkwardly in English all the time. It just happens.
Yeah. It does. We misspeak, we forget words, our brains go foggy sometimes. So this idea that you have to wait until your English is perfect before you speak, it's just setting yourself up for, never speaking.
Yeah, it's an impossible standard. You'd wait forever.
And the longer you wait, the scarier it gets, right? It's like a muscle. You've got to use it, even if it feels a bit weak or awkward at first. That's how it gets stronger.
Okay. So mistakes are learning opportunities. Shyness is normal. Don't wait for perfection.
Yeah.
But what can someone actually do, right now, to start speaking without that fear taking over?
Right. Practical steps. Well, one really simple thing, surprisingly effective, is just talking to yourself in English.
Talking to yourself.
Yeah.
Like out loud.
Yep. Or even just in your head, narrating what you're doing. Okay, I'm making coffee now. I need to check my email. It sounds maybe a bit silly at first.
Maybe a little.
But it's fantastic practice. Zero pressure. Nobody's listening. You just get used to forming English sentences, hearing your own voice, saying English words.
That's like your own private language lab.
Exactly. No judgment, just practice. Another great thing is finding let's call it a safe space.
What do you mean by safe space?
Like practicing with other learners. Maybe a language exchange partner who's also learning your language, so you're both kind of in the same boat. Or online speaking groups specifically for learners.
So places where everyone understands the struggle.
Right. Where the expectation isn't perfection, it's just communication and mutual support. Knowing others get it can really lower that anxiety level.
That makes a lot of sense. Less pressure. What about vocabulary? Do you need fancy words?
That's a great question. Sometimes people get stuck because they're trying to find the perfect, most sophisticated word. But honestly, clarity is king.
So simple is better.
Often, yes. Using simpler words clearly is much, much better than stumbling over complicated ones you're not sure about. Focus on getting your message across effectively. Don't feel you have to impress anyone with big words.
Good advice. Communicate first. Worry about sounding like Shakespeare later.
Precisely. And another thing, celebrate the small wins. Really notice them.
Small wins. Like what?
Like maybe you asked for directions successfully, or you understood a joke someone told in English, or you just managed to introduce yourself. Any small step forward.
Acknowledge the progress, however small.
Yes. Because each little success builds momentum and confidence. We often focus so much on the end goal, like fluency, that we forget to appreciate the journey, you know?
Yeah, it's like climbing stairs. You don't just teleport to the top. You take one step, then another.
Exactly. And those steps deserve recognition. One more tool, and this might sound a bit cheesy, but it works, is positive self-talk.
Affirmations.
Kind of, yeah. Consciously telling yourself things like, okay, I'm learning, I am getting better. Every time I try to speak, I improve a little. It helps counteract that negative inner voice.
Shifting your internal narrative from I'm scared to I'm growing.
You got it. Your mindset is incredibly powerful here.
You know, that reminds me of a story I heard about a student, Anna, from Brazil. Knew tons of English, grammar, vocab, but terrified. Absolutely terrified to speak.
Sounds familiar.
So one day in class, the teacher gently encouraged her just to say a few sentences, introduce herself. And she was visibly nervous, voice shaking. But she did it.
Wow, good for her. What happened?
The whole class just clapped. Not because her English was suddenly perfect, but because they saw her courage. They saw her try despite the fear.
That's brilliant. It just shows, doesn't it? Often the fear of the reaction is way worse than the actual reaction. People recognized her effort.
Exactly. And apparently, that moment was a turning point for her. It gave her this boost. She started speaking more, taking more risks.
And her fluency probably improved much faster after that, right?
Massively, yeah. It unlocks something. It just shows you sometimes have to, well, feel the fear and do it anyway, even if it's just a tiny step.
Because that fear is often the biggest wall. Once you push through it, even a little bit, you realize it wasn't as solid as you thought.
And the goal isn't flawless grammar. It's connection, right? Sharing your ideas.
Absolutely. Your voice, your thoughts, they matter, regardless of the odd mistake here and there.
Okay, so inspired by Anna, here's a little challenge for everyone listening, just for today.
Ooh, a challenge. I like it.
Try speaking English out loud, just for 1 minute, 60 seconds. That's it.
About anything.
Anything at all. What you had for breakfast, your plans for the weekend, describe the room you're in. It doesn't matter. The point isn't perfection, just doing it, flexing that speaking muscle.
Great idea. And while you're doing it, remember what we talked about. Mistakes. Okay, shyness, normal. Focus on the act of trying.
Be kind to yourself in the process. And hey, if you found any of this useful today, maybe share it with a fellow English learner who might need to hear it too.
Definitely. And maybe think about which one of those tips, talking to yourself, finding a safe space, focusing on clarity, celebrating wins, the self-talk, which one could you maybe try this week?
Just pick one small thing.
Because once you start breaking down that fear barrier bit by bit, it really does build momentum. It opens doors, not just for your English, but for your confidence overall.
So well said. All right, keep speaking, keep trying, keep shining, and never stop learning.
Keep at it.
Thanks for tuning in to this deep dive.